Good morning, Knights. It's Mrs. Hackensmith. Today is Monday, May 18th. Now, before we start, I have to apologize. I forgot 2 birthdays. One of them has the same birthday as my mother. On May 8th, I would like to say happy birthday to Miss Monica. And then we had a birthday on May 12th. I would like to say happy birthday to Miss Urel. So I am very sorry. I forgot to acknowledge your birthdays on the video for that day. I apologize. So happy birthday, Monica. Happy birthday, Urel. And I hope that you received your birthday book in your folder when you had the last pickup. I put your book in there and your bookmark and your sticker. So happy birthday. Alrighty. With that, I'm going to look at my matrix for today. We are starting week number 8 from May 18th to May 22nd. Week 8. So we have week 8, week 9, and 3 days in week 10. So we really only have 2.5 weeks left of school. That's pretty exciting. Alrighty, so for today, for our reading assignment, we are going to do another Scholastic news. This one is in your folder. It's called Beach of Glass. So I'm going to go and put this under the book camera. If you want to go ahead and get this, you can go ahead and get this. And then there should be the handy dandy little paper that goes with it inside. Alrighty, so you go get those, and you may as well get your math while you're at it, because after this we'll go right into our math lesson. Math today is pages 605, 606, 607, 608. So it's actually just 2 pages, but front and back. Alrighty, so I will meet you over under the book camera. Okay. I'm going to start with our matrix. Read the Scholastic News Magazine, Beach of Glass. Complete the activity page to go with the magazine. I will show this again. If you want to go to the website and have the website read it to you and do the activities, go to the Scholastic News right here. Scholastic.com/SN2. So right here is that website. And then remember, your password is Kite Ride, KITERIDE 6157. Sign in. Okay. Go down to the April, and here's Beach of Glass. And you are more than welcome to do the activities on here. This is how you can listen and read. Make sure you are reading on level. Here's the video, the vocabulary, and here's the little game. Alrighty, have fun with that. I'm just going to show you a little bit of the Scholastic News. Beach of Glass. So they call this sea glass. SEA, that kind of sea, like from the ocean. So we are going to learn about sea glass, and we're going to learn about recycling and reusing and things we can do to help keep our earth nice. Let's read the little blurb right here. A beach in California is covered in beautiful pieces of sea glass. So it's this kind of sea glass, like the ocean. They are smooth, not sharp. They look like jewels. They do look like jewels, don't they? And they used to be trash. How did this happen? Kind of has me interested. Alrighty, so open up your Scholastic News. Remember, you're going to look at the heading or the big title, trash or treasure. At one beach, the ocean churned pieces of trash into beautiful stones. Okay. As you read, think about whether this beach should be protected. Okay, you're going to learn about what's going on at that beach. Don't forget to look at the pictures and the captions. People call this beach Glass Beach. That's the name of the beach. Look at all of that sea glass on the beach. It's beautiful. Cool. All right, here's some more sea glass down here. There is not a caption around it. And then we have our subheadings, Oceans at Work. And then we have Disappearing Glass. And then we have a question down here that says, what do you think? Should people be allowed to take the sea glass? Yes or no? So you have to decide. What do you think? Sea glass colors. Over here is a little sidebar on the side of our magazine. Sea glass colors and where they came from. Don't forget to read the sidebar, because the sidebar also gives you information that you don't always find in the text. And then when you're done with that, you can read the back. Kind of goes back to Earth Day when we talked about reduce, reuse, and recycle. Remember that song we sang? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Recycle, reduce, and reuse. Remember that song we sang? Alrighty, so this has to do with keeping our earth clean, keeping our earth healthy, and things we can do to help save our earth and our resources. And then here are some questions. And then, of course, you're going to do the reading checkpoint page. If you want to put this onto Seesaw, you are more than welcome to. And then the back side is the vocabulary page. You're going to answer some questions. And you're going to talk about a souvenir. That is a word that you will find in your reading. All right, so that's your reading lesson for today. We'll set that aside and you can work on that later. I want to go over the math that we did last Friday. We were supposed to do 4 through 13 and then the right math. Alrighty, so number 4, I think we did that one together. 10:30, and it is 10:30. Remember, we're talking about the half past. So when the minute hand has gone halfway around the clock, we say it is 10:30. And remember that the hour hand is not on the 10 anymore. It's halfway between the 10 and the next hour, which is 11. We can also call this 10:30. Okay, number 5. The analog clock says 5:30. Another way of saying that on the digital clock is 5:30. 5:30. Remember, it's kind of an old-fashioned way to tell what time it is. A lot of people these days just say 5:30. Number 6, take a look at the analog clock. The hour hand is between the 11 and the 12. The minute hand is directly on the 6. So that tells us it is 11:30. You have to go back to the hour. You cannot go ahead to the next hour because it has not been 12 o'clock yet. Another way of saying it is 11:30. Okay, hopefully you did well on those. All right, now it's our turn to draw the analog clock. 4:30. So that means the hour hand is going to be halfway between the 4 and the 5. And then half past means our minute hand is going to be directly on the 6. We can also call this 4:30. The hour hand is, we have to go back to the 4 because it is not 5 o'clock yet, it's still 4 o'clock. And it is 30 minutes past 4 o'clock, or half past. Okay, 7:30. So your hour hand is going to be between the 7 and the 8 in the middle. And your minute hand is pointing directly at the 6. This is 7 o'clock, or 7:30. Okay, number 9, 6:30. Alrighty, so our hour hand needs to be in the middle of the 6 and the 7. And the minute hand has gone halfway around the clock to get to the 6. So we say it is 6:30, or we can say 6:30. Whenever that hour hand is on the 6, or I'm sorry, the minute hand is on the 6, that is 30 minutes after the hour. Okay, turn your paper over. Let's take a look at number 10. Eli woke up at 7:30. Remember I said that was 7:30. He needs to leave for school in 1 hour later. Show and write the time he needs to leave for school. So if it is 7:30 when he wakes up and he needs to leave in an hour, we're going to go all the way around the clock to give us 60 minutes because 60 minutes equals an hour. So let's go all the way around the clock. So my minute hand went around 60 minutes. Notice how the hour hand has moved between the 8 and the 9. So from 7:30 plus an hour is 8:30. So that's what time he needs to leave for school. So 8:30, the hour hand is going to be halfway between the 8 and the 9. And 30 tells us that the minute hand is going to be pointing at the 6. So does your clock look like my clock's? 8:30. And on the digital clock, that's pretty easy schmeezy. Your hour is 8. It is 30 minutes past 8. 8:30. Okay. All righty. Brain builders. Use the clock shown. So we've got when school starts at 8:30. Soccer practice starts at between the 3 and the 4. So we go back to the 3. 3:30. And the alarm goes off. It's between the 6 and the 7. You go back to the 6. 6:30. Because that minute hand is pointing to the 30. All right. Up here, it is no minutes. Each one of these is 5 minutes. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So it has been 30 minutes. So that's why we say 30. Alrighty. So what happens at each of these times? 2 hours after 4:30. So on my clock, I'm going to put 4:30. 4:30, another way to say that is, did you say 4:30? All right, so we need to go 2 hours after. So here is 1 hour. So now it is 5:30. And we're going to go around again another 60 minutes, which is going to give us another hour. And it is 6:30. So you start at 4:30 and you count on 2 more hours. So put 4:30 in your head, and we're going to go to 5:30, 6:30. So which one of these clocks says 6:30? Ah, this one does. So 2 hours after 4:30 is 6:30 or 6:30. The alarm goes off. All right, 1 hour after 2:30. Okay, another way of saying 2:30 is 2:30. Add an hour, 1 hour after. We were at 2:30, the next hour would be 3:30. What event happens at 3:30? Soccer practice. Good. Now, it is 1 hour before 9:30. So I'm going to go to 9:30. Another way of saying that is 9:30. Now, if it is before, we have to turn the clock backwards. If it is before the time, we're going to go back this way an hour, and we're going to turn the clock back an hour. So 1 hour before 9:30 is 8:30 or 8:30. That's when school starts. Okay. So how is reading a digital clock different from reading an analog clock? Well, an analog clock, you have to look where the hour hand is pointing and the minute hand is pointing, and then that tells you the time. So it is 8:30. You have to look at those hour hands and decide where they are. On a digital clock, all you do is read the numbers. 8:30. So the analog clock, you have to look at where the hands are. The digital clock, you just look at the numbers and you just say the numbers, and that tells you the time. Alrighty, I hope you did well on that. We're going to do some more practice. So now you should take out page 605 from your packet. And we're going to do this one together on problem solving. Alrighty, do you have your pencil? Are you ready? Here we go. The buses leave in order every half hour. Bus 1 leaves at 9:30. Bus 2 leaves at 10. What time do buses 3 and 4 leave? All right, so when we're problem solving, the first thing we're going to do is underline what we know and circle what we need to find out. So we know that the buses leave every half hour in order. So if bus 1 leaves at 9:30, I'm going to put 1 over here, and I'm going to write 9:30. We know that bus 2 leaves at 10 o'clock. What time do buses 3 and 4 leave? So that's what we're trying to find out. Alrighty, so I'm going to set my clock to 9:30, and we know that the buses leave every half hour, so every 30 minutes. So if I move my minute hand 30 minutes, I come to 10 o'clock. So bus 2 leaves at 10 o'clock. Now, I'm going to take a look at my pattern here. I have 9:30 for bus 1, 10 o'clock for bus 2. Let's move another 30 minutes or another half hour. Move my minute hand, and my hour hand goes between the 10 and the 11, but I always go back to the smaller number. So the next bus, 3, is going to leave at 10:30. Go ahead and trace that on your paper. Now, if bus 3 leaves at 10:30 and I go around for another 30 minutes, another half hour, what time is bus 4 going to leave? I look at my hour hand, it is 11 o'clock. I don't have any minutes after the hour of 11. So 11 o'clock. Now, it's always good to ask yourself, are my answers reasonable? 9:30 to 10, 10 to 10:30, 10:30 to 11. They seem pretty reasonable. I think we did that correctly. All right, so now turn your paper over to page 606. We're going to solve another problem together. Each class at school will go to recess 30 minutes after the other. The first class goes to recess at 1 o'clock. What time will the fourth class go? So just like we had 4 buses in the other one, now we have 4 classes. Alrighty, so let's go down here. We have class 1. And we know that class 1 goes to recess at 1 o'clock. So this is our starting time. Class 1 goes to recess at 1 o'clock. They go to recess every 30 minutes after the other class. So if my time is 1 o'clock, let me put my clock here at 1 o'clock, and then the next class goes in 30 minutes, what time will the next class go? 1:30, or what's another way to say this? 1:30. So class 2 is going to go at 1:30. Okay. Then class 3 is going to go at the next half an hour, which is what time? 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. And so what do you think class 4 is going to go? What time will they go? Half an hour later, 30 minutes later. What time is it? It's between the 2 and the 3, so you go back to the 2. 2:30. Class 4 will go at 2:30. So let's say our times. Let's say our pattern. We have 1 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock, 2:30. That's your pattern every 30 minutes. I think our answer is very reasonable. Alrighty. Now we're going to go to page 607. Okay. We're going to apply some strategies here to solve some problems. Find a pattern to solve. Use the space provided. So you know how I like to draw a picture. I like to draw everything out. You can do that on your paper. In the morning, Mrs. White's students change activities every hour. So students change activities every hour. Reading starts at 8:30. So they put the starting time down there. That's reading. Her students go to 3 more activities. 1, 2, 3. When do each of these activities start? Okay, so we know that they started at 8:30, and we know that every hour they move to the next activity. So let me get 8:30 on my clock here. And if we were to add an hour to 8:30, that means our minute hand goes all the way around 1 full time, because that is 60 minutes, and there are 60 minutes in an hour. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. All right, so if it has been an hour from 8:30, what time do they go to their next class? My hour hand is between the 10 and the 9. My minute hand is at the 30. we go back to the smaller number. So it is 9:30. 9:30. All right. So now let's see if we can do this in our head. We had 8:30 for the first time, 9:30 for the second class. When do you think that third class is going to start? At 10:30. How many of you said 10:30? If you did, you were correct. 10:30. Let's say our pattern so far. 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. So the only number that's changing is the hour. So what comes after 10 when we count? 11, and our minutes are going to stay 30. So we have 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, because all we're doing is adding 1 hour. So the minutes stay the same and just the hour changes. Okay? All right, let's try some brain builders here. It says students start work in learning stations at 10:30. After 2 hours, they go to lunch. All right, so they start their learning centers at 10:30. 2 hours, after 2 hours, they go to lunch. 3 hours after lunch is when they go home. What time do the students go home? Alrighty, so if I'm going to start my time pattern, I'm going to start with 10:30 right here, because that's when we start. All right, so after 2 hours, they go to lunch. So we're adding 2 hours. So here's 10:30. Let's add another hour. 11:30, only the hour changes. 12:30, only the hour changes. So we started at 10:30. We went around an hour. 11:30, we went around another hour. 12:30. So what time did they go to lunch? They went to lunch at 12:30 because they did 1 hour, 2 hours. So this is lunch. Okay? But that's not what they want to know. They don't want to know what time they ate lunch. They want to know what time they go home. Oh. So we got to keep thinking here. Okay, so that was the first part of the problem. Now, let's read the second part. 3 hours after lunch begins, they go home. So lunch begins at 12:30. 3 hours after lunch, they go home. Okay, so now, if we were doing this without a clock and we had 12:30 and we wanted to go to the next hour, 13:30. Well, that doesn't work because there's not a 13 on the clock, is there? All right, this is when our day is broken up into AM and PM. So we are at 12:30 right now. And look what happens after an hour. It starts all over again with, oh, sorry, there's 12:30. Okay, we're going to start all over again at 1:30. So after you get to 12, you start again with the 1. There is no 13 or 14. There actually is in military, but we're not in the military, so we're just going to do it the civilian way. If you're not in the military, you're a civilian. So this is civilian time. Alrighty. So let's see. It says 3 hours after lunch, they go home. Lunch starts at 12:30. So 1 hour was 1:30. We're going to go around again. 2 hours is 2:30. And 3 hours is 3:30. So what time do they go home? They go home at 3:30. Now let's continue on our little pattern here. 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30. So here's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So they go home at 3:30. All right, let's try another one. In the afternoon, Ms. White's students change activities every half hour. So every half hour, we know that that equals 30 minutes. So if math starts at 1, I'm going to put my starting time here. Math starts at 1. Writing starts after math. Okay, so this is math. Writing starts after math. Reading starts after writing. What time will reading start? All right, now remember, this is not every hour. This is every half hour. So let's put our clock starting at 1. Okay, so a half hour is 30 minutes. 30 minutes is a half hour where the minute hand goes around the clock a half time. And what time is it after a half hour, 30 minutes? It is 1:30. So writing starts at 1:30. So we had 1 o'clock, 1:30. Now we're going to add another 30 minutes to find out when reading starts. So 1:30 is writing. A half an hour goes by. Okay, so now the minute hand went around for a half an hour, which is 30 minutes. So 1:30 to 30 minutes is what time? The hour hand is pointing at the 2. The minute hand is at the 12. How do we say that? 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. What time will reading start? 2 o'clock. And that's how you write it. 2 o'clock. There are no minutes after 2. The big hand is directly up there on the 12. All right, I hope you're with me. Time's kind of confusing. Stick with it. All right, turn your paper over to page 608. We have some more problems here that we're going to work on. All right, now here are some strategies that you can use. You can find a partner. You can act it out. You can draw a picture. You know how Mrs. Hackensmith loves to draw a picture for math. So that's usually the one I do. Carmen has 8 shoes. She places an equal number of shoes into suitcases. How many shoes will be in each suitcase? So this one we can draw a picture and we could act it out too. So we know she has 8 shoes. She places an equal number of shoes in 2 suitcases. So here's my first suitcase. Here's my second suitcase. Alrighty, so remember you can act it out. So I'm going to put shoes into each suitcase. I'm going to put one here and I'm going to put one here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now she only had 8 shoes, so once I get to 8, I'm done. Now the question we're trying to answer is, how many shoes will be in each suitcase? Remember, they had to have an equal number. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in each suitcase, there will be 4 shoes. So you can act it out that way. I drew a picture too. Alrighty, let's look at number 5. A postcard costs 45 cents. Jason wants to buy 2 postcards. He has 2 quarters, 2 dimes, and 3 nickels. How much money does he have? All right, so he wants to buy, the postcards cost 45 cents. He wants to buy 2 postcards. He has 2 quarters, 2 dimes, and 3 nickels. How much money does he have? So all we're worried about now is finding out how much money he has. So I'm going to draw a picture. I'm going to draw my 2 quarters. Okay, I'm going to draw my 2 dimes. And I'm going to draw my 3 nickels. Remember how we did this? Okay, and now I'm going to add up my money. 1 quarter is worth 25 cents. 2 quarters is 50 cents. Stop. 50 cents plus a dime equals 10. So 50 plus 10 is 60. 60 plus 10 is 70. Stop. Now I'm going to add my nickels. A nickel is worth 5. So 70 plus 5 is 75. 75 plus 5 is 80. 80 plus 5, 85. So how much money does he have? 85 what? Cents. Don't forget your cent symbol. Okay. Now, look at the next question here. It says, how many pennies does he need so that he can buy the postcards? Well, what do we need to know first? We know that 1 postcard costs 45 cents, but he wants to buy 2. Oh, so we have to add 45 plus 45 to see how many 2 postcards will cost. All right, good thing we've got all this space to do this. So I'm going to make 45 cents plus 45 cents. Notice how my 1s are in line, my 10s are in line. Okay, now I'm going to add. 5 plus 5 is 10. So I have a new group of 10 and I have nothing left over. So I put my 0 there. Now I'm going to add my 10s. 4 plus 4 is a double, which equals 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So 2 postcards cost 90 cents. Jason has 85 cents. So how many pennies does he need? So let's put 85 cents here, and let's count on our pennies until we get to 90. So 85, we have 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. How many pennies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he needs 5 more pennies to equal 90 cents to buy 2 postcards. That was a lot of work in that problem. If you just read 1 sentence at a time and do what it tells you to do and draw your picture, that will help you find your answer when you're doing story problems. Alrighty, I believe we have one more, number 6. You ready? The subway arrives at the station on the hour and half hour. It is now 4:30. Kate's family is on the way, but it will take 1 hour to get there. What is the earliest time her family can get on the subway? Alrighty. So let's underline what we already know. The subway arrives on the hour and the half hour. It is now 4:30. Kate's family is on the way, but it will take 1 hour to get there. What is the earliest time her family will get on the subway? Okay. So it is 4:30 right now. Let's show 4:30. And it says it'll take 1 hour for them to get here. So let's add an hour to our clock. And what time does that make it then if we add an hour to 4:30? 5:30. After 4:30 comes 5:30. So they will get there at 5:30. All right. Woo! You guys worked hard on that. That was a lot of brain power. All righty. You might want to take a break, and then I want you to go back and do your Scholastic news. It should be a lot of fun reading about that beach class. I will see you on tomorrow. All right. Have a great day, Knights. Bye-bye.